Okay. Good good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of the day that you're seeing this. Thank you once again for joining us on yet another intriguing episode of the podcast. And today I have an amazing guest with us today. And trust me, you're going to enjoy this conversation. Backstage, I was just saying to him that part of the reasons why I do this is because I see that a lot of youth are tilted towards like probably fintech, a lot of things around technology, but not so many people are looking at agriculture and the infusion of technology. And that's why we're having this conversation today, so that youth can also see that within agriculture, technology can also serve as a leverage. Yes, and so today I'm just going to read out the bio of our guest. You sort of have like a background of who the expert that he is over the years, and so just get to meet him a bit. um Bradley Mbagaya is a Kenyan entrepreneur, a mechanical engineer, and innovator, and he's also the CEO and founder of Agrivolve, a company driving sustainable farming through modern technology, hydroponics, vertical farming, and IoT integration. Agrivolve is also committed to environmental sustainability, recycling plastic waste to create farming systems that address food security and challenges. Bradley also serves as the chief technical lead at Thermal Ventures, where he develops solutions using recycled plastic of waste to manufacture eco-friendly construction materials. Fantastic. With a background in mechanical engineering and advanced training in electrical and mechatronics, wow, and the social enterprise, Bradley has held leadership roles in multiple organizations, leading Green Power Kenya, Bretos Energy, and Innovators for Change. His work centers on sustainability, innovation, empowering community through technology. But Bradley's achievements includes winning the African Development Bank High Five Awards for improving the quality of life in Africa, the American Society of Mechanical Engineers Innovation Showcasing Award as the first runner-up of the E-Impact Challenge Award, Skilled in Leadership, Technical Enterprise, and Strategic Planning. He is also committed to advancing sustainable solutions in agriculture, construction, engineering, and fostering innovation in Kenya. With a round of applause, please meet my guest. Hi, Bradley.
Hello, hi, how are you? What an introduction.
Yeah, like it's just amazing to just hear what you've been able to accomplish thus far.
Thank you. It's still minute, we still want to accomplish more in terms of impact, but yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, so there was a break a bit.
Yes.
Okay, so my very first question to you, just reading your impressive bio, it states that you are a mechanical engineer and you now work in agriculture. How did you sort of pivot or make that transition? Because just help me, give me a background story of that.
Yeah, I mean, my background is mainly mechanical engineering, and it all started with a project. There's a project I was doing in the northern region of Kenya, a very dry
Mm,
area.
mm,
It's considered as an ASOL region, an arid, semi-arid land. And During my time there, because we were trying to make a machine that will ease the construction of classrooms,
mm,
because most of the kids there, they study under a tree. But when it reaches certain hours of the day at around 1, 2 p.m., it gets a bit too hot for them to be under the tree. So as we were making this machine that eventually reduced the construction costs by around 40%, I realized one of the biggest problems that we were experiencing is, as much as we were building the classrooms, not a lot of kids were coming to school. And one of the major reasons was the fact that they had to go, and because these guys are nomadic, so they had to go and look after the herds of cattle and the goats. There was no there was no time for them to go to school, and yet also at the same time go and herd the animals. So one of the problems also they had was the fact that there was no nutritious source of foods for them in school.
Mhm.
So they will have to go home, and most of them wouldn't come back to school. So that got me thinking. That got me thinking to on what sort of impact I want to create. What sort of impact I want to create, and that's when Agrivolve now was kind of born to solve that issue. One of the things that we wanted to do is if we can have a setup where we can grow hydroponic fodder and then give it to the parents as an incentive so that they can bring their kids to school. They don't need to go and start grazing the animals. They can have the hydroponic fodder from school as you bring your kid to school, and then you can have fodder for your animals. And also, we wanted to create a system where we want we want the kids at school as well to be supplied with fresh organic vegetables that will be served to them during lunch and break hour. I mean, most of us, we know for a fact kale juice, kale chips are very healthy, but that's not the kind of palate that we've grown with. Okay. So if we can have these kale chips, do some value addition, for example, for kale chips, kale juice, and then give the kids during break time, you'll find that you're not only giving them nutritious options, but at the same time, you are developing a human being who is going to be susceptible to the healthier versions of what snacks are supposed to be. So so during that time, that's the whole genesis of how I ended up now getting into agriculture, because I also realized one of the biggest problems we, like you said, not a lot of youth are engaging in agriculture, and therefore what we need to do is leverage what sort of skills we have from mechanical engineering, from mechatronics, from IT. How do you leverage this into modernizing agriculture, the current forms of agriculture? And I believe mechanical engineering is playing a major role in that. So yeah, that's the not so smooth transition to from mechanical engineer to now I can classify myself as a farmer.
Wow, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Indeed, you are a social innovator. It takes my mind back to a quote by Gandhi. He says, "Be the change you want to see in the world." And you had saw the need, and then you took the lead because you could have as well seen those needs and still not necessarily pay attention and just do other things. But you saw the need and like, okay, I have skill sets and competencies that can be used to provide solutions to this, and you went straight ahead to do that. That's purely commendable. Really
Thank you.
commendable. That's good. So my next question to you is,
Mhm.
what inspired you to integrate modern technologies like hydroponics and IoT into sustainable farming? And how has this transformed Agrivolve's impact?
Yeah, so I mean, at Agrivolve, our journey into integrating hydroponics and IoT began with a simple but very urgent question. How do we
Mhm.
feed a growing population in a country where arable land is shrinking, climate change is wreaking havoc, and malnutrition remains a very painful reality? The Kenya's agricultural challenges were very hard to ignore. Okay, climate change had turned predictable rainy seasons into erratic storms, with fewer rainy days but heavier downpours, washing
Mhm.
away soil fertility. Crop yields were declining, and with a warming planet, as we all know, projections warned of around 10% decrease in harvest across sub-Saharan Africa.
Mhm.
At the same time, the human cost was stuck. I mean, over a quarter of Kenyan children under 5 years, this was as of 2023, were stunted, and nearly 850,000 of them faced acute malnutrition by late 2023. The need for
Wow.
transformative solution was definitely clear. And that's when we turned to innovation. Well, hydroponics is not a new technology per se, but with its ability to grow food without soil, offered a way to bypass the challenges of
Yeah.
degraded land.
Yes.
IoT allowed us to monitor and organize every aspect of the growing process,
Mm.
from water use to plant health. Together, these technologies kind of unlocked something extraordinary, a system that could grow more food in less space, using less water, and completely independent of erratic weather conditions. I mean, the results have been profound. It's in just a single 120 square meter greenhouse like the one we have like now for our pilot in 4 meters vertical structure, we can easily grow thousands of plants producing fresh, nutritious vegetables all year round because we are not affected by
Mm.
seasons. And by recycling water in a closed loop system and minimizing resource waste, we're not just growing food, we are doing it sustainably with the environment and future generations in mind. As of
Mm.
today, Agrivolve systems empower communities from Kenya, from urban households to rural schools to grow their own food. It's not just farming, it's about creating a future where every child has access to healthy meals, where agriculture works with nature rather than against it, and where
Mm.
Kenya can adapt to climate change without sacrificing its people's well being. This is not just your regular farming, it's a movement for sustainable, resilient food security.
Fantastic, fantastic. I like how you sort of also incorporated circular economy into the picture.
Yeah, that's
You
the
know,
only way to make it sustainable.
at what point did did you sort of say, okay, I think we also need to add this into the entire mix for the
I
circular
mean,
economy?
yeah, from my background has always been on social enterprises. And these social enterprises, we've tried as much as possible to deal with the waste. So, from a circular point of view, we wanted a situation where we can design a product that not just serves the need of production of food, but it's also recycling the plastic waste that we currently have. I mean, we produce more than 2.4 metric tons in Kenya alone every month of plastic waste, and we only have the capability to recycle like 10% of it. Okay, so if
Oh,
we used, and it's not just Kenya alone, I think in Africa it's more than that, and we still have only around 9-10% capability to actually recycle that plastic waste. So for it to be more sustainable, because it kind of affects our price range as well, for it to be more sustainable and for it to be more circular, we every product that we use is actually made out of recycled plastic. That makes it a circular economy, and it makes it
yeah.
even cheaper for adaptation. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. So that's really good to know. My very next question to you is: how does vertical farming address food insecurity challenge, especially in urban areas with limited
Yeah, I mean, vertical farming is unique in the sense that it tackles food security challenges in urban areas by innovatively rethinking how
Mm,
and when and where food is grown. In cities where land is scarce, and I mean, in Kenya, we are experiencing around 4.1, 4.5% increase in urban areas. You find that land becomes scarce and expensive. Well,
mm,
our vertical systems, capitalize on vertical space, turning walls, rooftops, balconies, and even indoor areas into productive farmland. Unlike traditional agriculture, our vertical farming system doesn't require fertile soil. Okay, we don't use any form of soil, we use soilless medium, making it a viable solution in areas where land degradation or urban sprawl limits arable land. Moreover, our systems localize food production, therefore reducing dependence on long supply chains that are vulnerable to disruptions. By growing crops close to where they're being consumed, vertical farming decreases food transportation, cost and waste, ensuring fresher produce reaches urban populations. Its adaptability to fit into confined urban spaces provides an accessible, sustainable way for communities to actually directly engage with food production, bolstering resilience and self-sufficiency in the face of an ever-growing urban food demand.
Mm, true. I like how you you sort of tie everything together, and even in the way that you do the work that you do, you are always thinking about how can we make this sustainable, how can we keep continuity of this. That's really beautiful. And I think that the more we think about how we can make these solutions sustainable, the better it will be, because it's not just going to be a one-time thing. It's going to be there for a while, for a longer time.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you share some like real world examples of how Agrivolve has improved farming efficiency and sustainability for communities?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're still in the pilot phase of our project. So we are in the data collection. One of the biggest problems we realized is that it's not a data-centric sort of farming, especially not in Africa. I
Mhm.
mean, if you go to the Netherlands, these guys have perfected the whole hydroponics vertical farming units. Even Singapore are doing the same. But here in Africa, it's not data-driven.
Yeah.
So what we decided to do is in the pilot process, we are in the process of collecting data. So what has happened is we have 10 households which have a balcony unit. So you'll find like a balcony unit has like we have these four hydroponic crates. Where you'll find one crate is capable of holding around 18 plants. These 18 plants, whatever you decide, whether you want lettuce or you want some Chinese cabbage, you want kale, you want spinach, the leafy vegetables, if you want tomatoes as well. And we've collected data in the sense that, as is right now, each balcony unit can easily feed a family of 3 to 4, at least 3 times a week for the next 6 months until you now need to recycle your plant. So you find that that is, first of all, cost friendly, extremely cost
Yes.
friendly. Okay.
Yes.
And second of all, you have control of what you're feeding your family. So you know exactly what you're feeding your family because you can see
Yeah.
it grow on your balcony. And that gives a sense of security and comfort to the parents, especially when they're feeding their kids with vegetables they can actually see. Because we've had several we've seen several videos online, especially in Nairobi, where the kales, the spinach that we usually buy, you find they're being grown on sewage plants and all that. So that kind of gives
Mm.
it gives a form of discomfort, especially because you don't
Okay.
know where it's coming from. But the fact
Yeah.
that this one is on your balcony, you can control it and all that, it makes it much, much safer for you to feed your family with it. And then secondly, we have also a pilot farm around 120 square meters of a greenhouse that we are collecting data on. But what so far we have collected data on is the fact that you have reduced your water consumption by around 90%. Okay, because it's
Wow.
all recycled.
Yeah.
90%. So you can imagine what sort of magic this does to an arid area. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You have around 30-40% reduction in fertilizer, organic fertilizer wastage, because everything is controlled. It's a controlled environment. So you find that your costs have actually gone down in terms of fertilizer usage. And then the third thing is the fact that you've reduced your operation costs. There's no digging, there's no weeding, there's limited use of pesticides. You've reduced your operation cost by around 60%. So
Mm.
if you're doing it for commercial purposes, you find that you're producing high quality organic products at the same time reducing your operation cost.
Yeah.
So in terms of impact so far, we are seeing a very promising trend with our products, from domestic use to commercial use. And we are still thinking in terms of even the IoT aspect of it, integrating the IoT in our agriculture, is mainly to make sure that everything is under control, and also there's no seasonality. Okay, there's no
Mm.
seasonality. You can only grow, since you're not dependent on the weather conditions, you can grow at any time of the year, ensuring
Yeah,
that you've constant supply of fresh vegetables.
that's so good. Really good to hear. I like the part where it aids efficiency.
Yeah.
I like the part it aids efficiency and also operational cost reduction as well.
Yes. Mm.
And there's so much efficiency with the process and much more. The like you made mention, much more. The people are certain of the nutritional value of what they're getting.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's an important aspect. That's one of the things we we had we had one of our clients ask us, because she was like, this they look too green, to be a reality. So we usually have the tests done. We will take some of the samples, take it to a lab, get the nutritional value, because people think it's GMO and all that, because they look really good, and they
Yeah,
taste even better. So we get the nutritional value, and you find that it's more or similar to if you were to plant it on the ground. It's only that for us, it grows much, much faster.
yeah.
Instead of, say, for example, 3 months, you'll find that it'll grow within 2.5 months, because you've given the plant exactly what it needs.
What it needs, yeah, it's what it needs to thrive. That's really beautiful. Okay,
Thank you.
so my very next, well done. My very next question to you is, what role does IoT play in modern agriculture, and how can small scale farmers adopt these technologies affordably? That's the important word, affordably.
Yeah, I mean, at Agrivolve, IoT plays a vital role in enhancing the efficiency and the sustainability in
Yeah.
our farming methods, particularly for small scale farmers. With the use of IoT enabled sensors in our hydroponics and vertical farming systems, we help farmers monitor crucial factors like soil moisture, although in our sense it's soilless medium moisture levels, the crop health, the weather conditions in real time. And with this, it allows for an informed decision making, okay, optimized resource usage, and reduced wastage. To make IoT affordable for small scale farmers, we offer scalable modular systems that can be gradually expanded, ensuring that the technology remains accessible without heavy upfront costs. So we will advise you on what is currently needed, and then we'll give you the extras per se. We can call it the extras. Uh, and since everything is modular in the sense that you can expand on whatever you need, so we'll give you everything eventually without that heavy upfront costs. We also are collaborating, and we are also in talks with partners to provide training and support. We are also talking to several financial institutions to see if they can do asset financing for such products. And this is all to help small scale farmers to adopt to these technologies for improved productivity and resilience. One of the things that we've realized is, by the time you're done with the first harvest,
Yeah.
you have enough money to actually now expand on whatever sort of technology you need to improve on your yield production. So we try as much as possible to make it as cheap as possible, but also as very efficient as possible.
Hmm. Fantastic, fantastic. I like the fact that you said you guys try as much as possible to make it as cheap and also accessible as well to
Yes.
to the farmers. And so I also like how you talked about people are able to access it based on what they need per time. Like what you need at the beginning phase is also different from what you need when you're scaling your farm, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
My next question to you would be, what are like the challenges uh, that you have also sort of witnessed in scaling hydroponics or vertical farm systems? Let's say in your case, let's say in Kenya, and how have you been able to sort of overcome this? What are the challenges that you've seen that in scaling hydroponic farming and also vertical farming for Kenya? And also, you can
Yeah.
also give a broader context with Africa as well. But let's start out with
Yeah.
Kenya first.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's not a data-driven technology, and that brings about a lot of challenges. One
Mm-hmm.
is the initial cost is viewed as high. Okay. But if you do your SWOT analysis and you realize that the operation cost return on investment is around 12 to 18 months. Okay. So the initial cost is viewed as high because it's not a data proven technology. And also, there's very limited technical expertise, very
Yeah.
limited technical expertise in this particular field. And there's also unreliability on the water sources. Because, like I said, this is a very, I'm not going to use the word sensitive, but it's a very, you need to know what exactly you're doing for you to optimize on your yield production. Everything needs to be in order, from the salinity levels to the temperatures. So the type of water, the reliability on the water source is also a major thing. And then we've got the cultural resistance, which is, I believe, the in Africa, that's a major thing. The cultural resistance in terms of, we've been doing farming for the last three,
This way.
four generations, yeah, in a certain manner. So for you to really convince someone that, yes, you've been doing it this way, but this is a much more efficient and sustainable way, it becomes a bit
Yeah.
of a challenge. Yeah. And also, we have the supply chain issues. I mean, like any form of distribution business, that is a major issue when it comes to supply chains, ensuring that is
Mm-hmm.
it's moving uh, uh, um, confidently and it's moving comfortably, to ensure that everything is running smoothly. So supply chains is also a problem. But I mean, we are. I'm not saying we have overcome all this, but we're in the process of overcoming all this, by offering affordable modular farming systems that allow gradual expansion, like I talked about a minute ago. This will make farmers easier to adopt. We are also providing training and support to equip farmers with the necessary skills. And through our integration of renewable energy systems like the solar panels and water recycling solutions, we address the infrastructure limitations that are currently being faced with these systems. We've also taken into account the fact that we have to collect the data. We have to confidently sell you a data-driven product. So we are doing a lot of tests. Like right now, we are doing around 15 new plans, where we're collecting the data on what needs to be done for it to be more successful. So that by the time I'm telling you now, this is the unit, this is the conditions that need to be set, blah blah blah, I know what I'm talking about because I've collected the data on that. And also, we to address the local the supply chain issue, we are building local supply chains and
Okay.
showcase the benefits through our demonstration farms. So you have these 10 balconies in different apartments within Nairobi, and then you have also the greenhouse, that we're not telling you what hydroponics is supposed to be. We are telling you, come, no, 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 come, check it out, see exactly what is being done. You can see the produce that is coming out of it. So that kind of helps with the supply chain, and also to overcome the whole cultural resistance. we have to have the demonstration farm as well, so that you're not being told stories. You can actually come and see what is happening.
Wow, wow, that's really amazing. Just knowing how you have been able to devise ways to mitigate these challenges that you have experienced while working on this. So my very next question to you is, how can mechanical engineering and mechatronics skills be leveraged to develop innovative solutions for agriculture and sustainability?
Yeah, I mean, I guess with my background in both, we have leveraged mechanical and mechatronics engineering to easily continue the innovation of our solutions that will help with sustainability. It's efficiency
Okay.
and sustainability for us. So we integrate these engineering skills, and we design automated systems that basically optimizes resource usage, enhance efficiency, and
Okay.
reduce reliance on manual labor. I mean,
Mm,
for instance, when it comes to mechatronics, our systems are powered automatically. Yeah,
mm,
in terms of regulating the water, the nutrients, the light, and things like temperature. And all this is to minimize waste and boost yields. And when it comes to mechanical engineering, we are able to build durable, efficient structures, such as now the vertical farming systems,
yeah.
irrigation solutions, and climate control units, all very essential for sustainable farming practices. We are trying also to focus on energy efficient designs where we incorporate renewable energy, like things like solar, and this helps in the reduction of environmental impact of our operations. And
Mm,
therefore, when we combine the two in agriculture, we create a scalable, cost-effective solutions that increases productivity and contributes to environmental sustainability. That's why we have to incorporate the two, because it addresses the pressing challenges of food security and climate
yeah.
change. So we combine the two, and like you said in the beginning, unless we are in a position where we can combine the technologies that we have, the different skills that we have, then we can't have an efficient system. We will still continue doing the old ways. We will still do the old traditional ways, and that doesn't increase our productivity at all.
Mm. So it's the fact that your skill set in mechanical engineering and mechatronics has helped boost and increase productivity.
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah, I like how you are very your the processes and the systems that you design are very eco-friendly. You know, incorporating renewable energy as well, ensuring that you are not, worsening climate change situation as well with the solution that you're providing. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Really
Yeah.
good. Okay, so my next question to you is, um, what lessons have you learned thus far on your journey? Just because this is like a very massive thing. What lessons have you learned thus far on your journey, by founding Agrivolve and also leading the team in Intermile Ventures? What lessons have you learned along the way?
A lot, a lot,
Okay.
a lot. I feel like I should be writing a book at this stage.
Please do.
I,
I think we also need that as well. I think we also, as much as we have a lot of, and I think I want to work around something like that. As much as we
yes,
have a lot of books around mindsets, I was saying to
yes,
someone the other day that I would like to have like a compendium of just great Africans, agropreneurs that are just doing amazing stuff. Just have a compendium of it and have let people have access to these things. The way that we read
yes.
people's biography, we just see these things that this is actually happening and it's possible. But just share your lessons with us, though.
Yeah, I mean it's been a bit of a rough ride, especially the whole transitioning from mechanical engineering to agriculture. I mean, this is something that I had zero clue about, and I had to align myself with the right individuals. And that's one of the lessons that I've learned painfully is you are the steward of your own vision. So at the end of the day, if you don't align yourself with the right people, it becomes a bit tricky, especially investor wise. It becomes a bit tricky to expound on that vision.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn new ways of doing learn not new ways but learn traditional farming first of all.
Oh
What
wow.
it means when kale turns from green to yellow. What does that mean? What sort of deficiency is that? And what sort of pests, what sort of diseases that plants have. You have to go through that whole process so that you can understand exactly what you're doing. And secondly, is it's usually be rigid on the vision but flexible on the specifics. And
Mm,
that's challenging, especially when you're bringing other people on board. And like I said, the whole cultural resistance thing where everyone is like, it's too good to it sounds too good to be true. So
yeah.
convincing people is a bit of a challenge. And yeah, I mean, it all pans out nicely eventually, as long as you are driven with what needs to be done and what needs to be achieved. And for me, is it's not about how much money you make out of this; it's about how much impact your innovation can create. And that's why we are very insistent. My CFO doesn't like this at all because he keeps on saying perfection is the enemy of profitability, and
Yeah.
I agree with him to a degree, but our whole concept is based on improving efficiency. If we are at 60% efficiency right now, I want to get to 90%. I want to get to 100%. So we keep on trying as much as possible to improve our efficiency, trying new ways to do it, and that poses a challenge in terms of progress, profitability
Yeah.
wise. You know, uh, this is king. So if you're not making any form of sales, that piloting, that constant data collection becomes a bit of a hindrance. It becomes a bit of a problem because you do not have sufficient funds to actually sustain that aspect of it. But yeah, I mean it's an interesting journey that we've partaken, and hopefully it all pans out as we expect it.
Fantastic. There was something you made mention of at the very beginning that I would really like you to expatiate on. You said um, part of the challenges, that you sort of, not challenges, but sort of the lessons you've learned on your journey is aligning yourself with the right people. So when you say the right people, what exactly do you mean? I want context so that anybody listening to this that is, embarking on such a journey as yours know what to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, right people, it basically means that people who share the same vision with you. That's what I will define as the right people. Someone who shares the same vision with you. And you see, it takes a village. It takes a village for you to get to a point where you can easily call something a success story. And
Yes, true.
there's a lot of chaff. There's a lot of chaff, and you just need to understand what sort of people you're aligning yourself with who share the same vision as you. So if for us, when we were getting our first investors, one of the biggest problems we had was the fact that they were in for the profits making and we were in for the impact. So when
Mm,
you have these two people coming on board, you're like you can't move forward comfortably simply
yeah.
because you want to do more research. You're not confident in moving into market entry when
Yeah.
you are not confident with what you're providing. But you see, the other person wants to get the profits in. You want to start making sales, and that's what tanks most of the business. So you need someone who is with you, who is rigid with you on the vision, on whatever vision your company is has, and slightly flexible on the specifics, because things always change. You need to adapt, but you need someone who shares with you the same vision. And for me, eventually, I got the right people for that. I've got a whole team that is more or less interested in what sort of impact we are generating in in regards to, or rather, like they're interested in the impact more than the profitability of what the business is supposed to be making. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think that this is sort of like this the alignment things in terms of partnership or investor is also like a major challenge, especially in a lot of agricultural ventures. Because
Yeah.
even the guest I had on last week that sort of talked about vegetable farming, and he also highlighted stuff like this, like when people want to invest in like vegetable farming and things, they want to like, oh, what exactly is the ROI? When will I be getting it? How constant will I be getting it? And he's
Yes.
like, sometimes, the output doesn't just come out as I had hoped. So what happens? I can't. And he's like, no, agriculture most times, as much as you want to have like projections and things that can happen that makes your yield unpredictable. For
Yes.
certain reasons, and those investors are not willing to sort of listen to things like that as well. Uh,
Exactly.
So do you think my question now is, do you think that there's a way to help them also have perspective from your standpoint, or typically just go ahead and look for people that are more aligned in terms of, wanting a situation where there's impact and also income? Or is there a way to sort of convince people like that?
I mean, if there is a way, I haven't found it yet. um, there's a way, I haven't found that one yet. But one of the things is, I'd say, you speak to 100 people, you will definitely get one person who aligns with your vision. And so far for us, that has been the case. We've talked about what Agrivolve does, what Agrivolve is supposed to be, and a lot of people just, yeah, it's a brilliant idea, it's a brilliant idea, but they don't want to put any form of investment into it because they can't see the immediate ROI on it, until we found the people who actually understand what we're supposed to do. But mainly, we've just bootstrapped everything. We've bootstrapped everything. We keep on doing a lot of resource mobilization, which is also something that a lot of entrepreneurs, because there's a lot of access to it, so a lot of entrepreneurs need to look at it from that point as well, where you can do easily resource mobilization, and through grants, through fellowships and all that, and eventually people will always come back. And if hopefully if they don't come back, they will get the fear of missing out and just invest in it later on. I mean, it's a neither here or there kind of situation. You just need to be resilient with it.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
that's good. Thank you for sharing that. Okay,
Yeah.
so my very next question to you is, what advice would you give to um, a young innovator looking to tackle sustainability and food security issues through technology? Because someone might watch this event, might watch this a podcast or listen later on, and they're sort of okay. They've been inspired by what you've shared, and they would want to, sort of delve into this. What would you say, they should sort of look into? Advice for such a young person to look into in tackling food security issue and also sustainability issue through technology.
Yeah. I mean, I remember one of the things that I was told at a younger age was, life is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. So um, it's all a matter of what drives you. And for me, looking at those kids, the way they were malnutritioned and all that, it sparked that interest to fully invest in agricultural solutions, in food security solutions. And I think that's what drives my sustainability. So it's all a matter of find the problem. And there's a lot of problems when it comes to food security. There's a lot of problems. You might be having the production, but you do not have the storage facilities. You do not have a modern way, or like a proper way of doing storage. It might be post-production, it might be pre-production. So whatever the problem is that you see in your community or in your country, look at it and then design it properly. Design it from a point where it needs to be efficient. And after efficiency, you look at the sustainability. It's not just a matter of 1, 2, 3, 10 years and then it's done. How do you make it sustainable? How do you make it sustainable in a way that you can control the impact? So for anyone who is aspiring to be an entrepreneur, which is it's a very hard thing. It's a very, very hard thing. It requires a lot of guts, and it requires a lot of self-discipline. But if you're aspiring to be an entrepreneur, especially in the agricultural and food security aspect of it, is you need to look at the efficiency and the sustainability aspect of it, because we've had this discussion, me and my brothers, 1,000 times, I think. And one of the problems that we're having in Africa, since we are considering ourselves a developing continent, is the fact that we are more focused on the information era, and we are forgetting the exodus of the whole thing. Agriculture has to be the backbone. And then after the agriculture aspect of it, once you've perfected knowing what you need to be doing in agriculture, now you go to the industrialization aspect of it. And that industrialization includes now hydroponic systems, things like hydroponic systems, where you increase the efficiency of the production. And then after that, once you have your kills, once you have your spinach, if you have surplus, then you do value addition for it. Okay. Once you do the value addition for it, you increase the shelf life and you increase the value of the product itself. And then after you're done with that, that's when now you go into the information aspect of it. Now I know there's person XYZ who's been looking for kill chips. I need the data on how I'm going to market this product for them. But we're doing it in reverse. We are doing it in reverse, or not even in reverse. We are focusing on the information era and forgetting the backbone of it all. So, I mean, if we can focus all our skills, into improving what we currently have, then I feel like the market is there. The market is there for any aspiring entrepreneur. The market is there. And it's just a matter of you providing a better solution than what is currently available in the markets. And the market will accept it.
Mm. I like when you say provide a better solution. Sometimes when people think about innovation, they think about it that it has to be like sort of like a grand idea, something that has not been done before. Sometimes
Yes.
innovation can just be about efficiency, something that's currently running and how can we make it better? Or,
Yes.
something's not working properly. What do we need to take out of it to also make it efficient? So innovation most times not always about, a grandiose idea. Most times it's also about efficiency.
Yeah.
And so this is another question that I would really love to ask you. How valuable has continuous learning been for you on your journey?
Oh, extremely, extremely. I mean, in pursuit of knowledge, and that's one of the things I'm happy that it excites me when I learn new things. Is you get to a point where you realize it's not as easy as you initially thought, and it's more interesting the more you learn about it. Like I said, I had to learn different. I've never done any form of farming in my life, in my entire life. And for me to start Agrivolve, it meant that I have to continuously learn, continuously. So I will go to the greenhouse. I see something weird. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not supposed to be like this. Take a picture, send it to the agronomist. Google it, understand what exactly, why is it like this and this and this. Sometimes it will just tell me, no, that's normal. That's the stage it is in. And I'm like, ah, okay. So within the first month or 2 months, this is how it's supposed to look like. And with that, it guides you to know your craft even more. And when you're having discussions and you see like our products, majority of the people who are consuming our products are actual farmers. So when you are conversing with a farmer who knows he has been doing it for the last 10, 20 years, he knows exactly what he's talking about. So if you don't have the knowledge, then
Yes.
it diminishes the value of what you're producing. So constant learning of whatever craft you're in, understanding what the world is doing outside, like what exactly is being done apart from what you're doing. It kind of guides you. It kind of guides you and helps you to even sell your product easily because you
Mm.
have the bank of knowledge that you've acquired from constant learning. Even right now, I'm still learning more about farming. I can tell you what a plant needs within what sort of period, when it starts wrinkling, when it starts showing different colors. I have that knowledge from someone who just used to design machines and fabricate them.
Fantastic, fantastic. So,
Yeah.
yet another question for you, at this
Yes.
time is, um, in terms of profitability, this is also a thought I was sharing with someone the other day. I was saying, most times people feel like agriculture, it is capital intensive, especially when you're just starting out, right?
Yeah.
It's very capital intensive, and profitability at that initial phase, maybe the first 1 to 2, 3 years, depending on what exactly you're working with, it's not really there, and that tends to be I would say like an element of discouragement for people, right? But in terms of like profitability, what would you say to a person listening to this conversation and is sort of contemplating whether or not to sort of invest because of some level of uncertainty that surrounds agriculture? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I mean, that's also the other thing that we seriously looked into. I mean, because we know at the end of the day, you might have an efficient system, but if your clients are not getting a return on investment on the systems that you sold them, then I mean the adaptability becomes a bit slow. So the
True.
things that we have taken as a responsibility from our end is we've established connections with most of the local supermarkets, guys who are exporting, the exporters for fresh produce.
Okay.
And one of the systems that we are still working on right now is I don't know if in Nigeria this happens, but for us in Kenya, when you're growing up, when you start making some few coins, you're advised by your parents, by society, basically, to invest in either land or get an apartment. You know, like some form of tangible asset.
Investment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But having done that, we realized that it's not a cash flow business, because you invest in land and then you don't do anything with it, or you invest in an apartment that is paying you peanuts. You get your return on investment in like 5 years, and yet you've done a huge initial capital investment. So the kind of products that we want to sell right now to our farmers, to our clients, is instead of doing all that, why not just set up a greenhouse? We will run it for you. We will manage the whole thing for you. Run it for like two
Okay.
years until you've gotten your return on investment. We've trained whoever you've given us to run the whole greenhouse. So we'll train your people and run your facility for like 2 years. And
Okay.
within those 2 years, we are going to be, and you see, that's the beauty of our product, is that we are market oriented, in the sense that we're not going to start planting capsicums when it's capsicum season. We're not going to plant
Mm.
spinach season. So, and the versatility of our product is the fact that we can plant anything at any time of the year. So
Yeah.
it's easy to plant what is not currently in the market, and that way you get a fair price for your product. So that's one of the products that we are trying to see once we are done with the whole financial institution backing, like banks and all
Mhm.
that for us financing. We are trying to see if we can have these products for younger guys, the youth and the women who want to invest in agriculture as a means of uh, uh, um, fast cash flow, or not necessarily fast, but as a means of regenerative cash flow. And you find that we were doing some calculations with just our greenhouse. A small greenhouse of around 120 square meters. Financially, it will cost you from us around $20,000. With
Mm.
$20,000, you're guaranteed every 3 months. Okay, every 3 months, you're getting roughly around $4,000 to $5,000.
That's
Okay,
good.
$5,000. This is keeping in mind the fact that you have reduced your operation cost by 60%, your water
Yeah.
usage by 80 to 90%. We've reduced your fertilizer intake by around 30%. So you find that you're retaining almost 70% as revenues, as profit from your revenue. So you find that a return on investment within 12 to 18 months, you're already done. So it makes it, and we're giving you people who are consuming these products because one of the guys we were having a meeting with, I think it was on Monday, was a guy who is exporting, and he was telling us, if you guys can be supplying me with 2.5 tons of capsicum every week, I'll be taking, I'm guaranteeing you for the next 10 years, I'm giving you a letter of intent for the next 10 years, I'll be taking every week. So when you have such
Mhm.
kind of partnerships, you find that it's easier for you to do such levels of agriculture, knowing that you have the production capacity and you also have the market. Yeah. So we are trying to really encapsulate the whole thing to ensure that our clients actually get the best out of their money. They get the most out of their money, their investment.
That's really great. That's really fantastic. Fantastic. Whew. We're about to wrap up. We're about to wrap up. It's just been an amazing time just interacting and engaging with you, Bradley, today. My next question is you sort of touched on it a bit, but I would still like you to, elaborate a bit. Says how can partnership between agricultural technology and sustainability drive change in addressing global challenges?
I mean, in our operations, partnerships are basically the cornerstone of transformative
Yeah.
change. Um, by collaborating with like-minded organizations, we leverage on expertise, innovative technologies, and sustainable practices, which
Mm.
help us to revolutionize what agriculture is supposed to be in Kenya and in Africa. These partnerships help us to develop cutting edge solutions, like one of our partners who does the plastic recycling. Um, we can scale our eco-friendly systems, and we empower the communities to embrace modern and efficient farming methods. Together, all of us, we are not just addressing the whole challenge of food security and resource efficiency. We are pioneering like a future of sustainable growth and environmental stewardship. Our true power
Yeah.
in our partnerships lies in the ability that we can amplify the impact, which is very important to us. We can amplify the impact where we turn bold visions into tangible, life changing realities. So for us,
Mm.
partnership is very important, especially with the key players, including even the government, key players in the agriculture, the technology, and the sustainability sectors.
Wow. That's quite impressive, really impressive. So this would be like my question to you is for any person considering, the agricultural sector right now, are they like specific value chains within the sector that you would sort of recommend that they look into? And even with this, is it in alignment with their skill set or something that they can just sort of they have interest in and they want to learn, or it's better off that they focus on things that are much more in alignment with their skill set? Which part of the value chain would you recommend that they sort of look into?
Yeah, I mean, two places that I would really recommend for anyone who
Okay.
wants to get into the agricultural business. One is, how do you improve resource usage and reduce wastage? That's a very key sector. And two, the value addition, because one of the, but again, all this is dependent on your geographical location. But one of the things that we've experienced is you find there's certain places that are very fertile, extremely fertile. So for them,
Yeah.
the production is not a problem, but the post production is the problem. So you find that there's cabbages rotting on the field, there's carrots rotting on the field. You find they're selling it at a very low price. So such places, then you look at the value addition aspect of it. What can I do? What can I do to improve to improve the post production process of whatever is there? But there's some places that they do not have the capability to actually do the production itself. So that now begs the question: how do I increase? How do I improve on the production aspect of it? So I mean, it depends with your geography, and like I said, it's understanding what the problem is and coming up with a solution that is tailor made to that particular geography, so that at the end of the day, whatever you're producing, whatever your solution is an actual solution to a problem that is existing.
Hmm. I sort of lost you for like probably 15 seconds.
Mhm. Sorry.
I sort of lost you for like 15 seconds when you were talking about, identifying what the challenge is in the area where the person is situated and then sort of creating solutions based off of that. You had given the analogy of if it's within an area where there's excessive production, the person could look into value add. Then you were talking about the second area, and that's where I sort of lost you a bit.
Oh yeah, the second area is mainly on places like the ASAL regions where
Okay.
you find that the production is the problem. They don't have the resources to do the production aspect of it. So you have to come up with a solution for such kind of guys. And that's, I believe that's what Agrivolve is mainly focused on. Because we realize not a lot of people have the capacity to do the production. And if they do have the capacity to do the
Yeah.
production, it's not sustainable. So we come up with newer solutions in which we can, and by the way, even the recycled hydroponic units that we sell to you, once you are done with them, once there's breakages, once you no longer want to do that kind of farming, we buy back the products from you because everything is
Oh,
recycled. Yeah. So
that's
you find
good.
that when you offer someone such kind of solutions, it becomes easier for them to adopt to such newer technologies. So again, like I said, it's more of tailor made to what your current problem is, what problems your people are facing, what your community is facing as a problem, and then you just come up with a solution that fits them perfectly.
Fantastic, fantastic. So this is not a question, anyways, but do you just work mainly in Kenya, or you're also able to work across different regions in Africa?
As long as there's human beings, food is always going to be necessary. And if there's need for food, there's need for efficient ways in working in working around it. So we are not enclosed to Kenya. We want
Okay.
to expand because, like I said, for us we are impact driven. So we are more than capable to expand. I've got a very resilient and very efficient team. Like our systems, we are efficient and sustainable as well. So we can adapt to any form of environment, and we will love to do that because that means our goal of impact will be reached. And whatever we're not close to boundaries. We are all over the place. Yeah. We would want to be
Fantastic.
all over.
Fantastic. So for anyone that wants to sort of connect with you on the basis of having you come help them set up something, how can they reach you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, our social media handles is Agrivolve KE, Agrivolve Kenya. You can link through my LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
I believe if it's possible, you can also put my email address, I think, on the video. So yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we're always available. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so, guys, you've heard from him that you can reach out to him on LinkedIn, and you can also reach out to him Agrivolve or his personal LinkedIn account as well. I'm going to do well to drop his email address on the description of the video and also like his direct contact link. So if you're interested in just having Agrivolve help you set up, please do connect with them and do reach out to them because I strongly believe that they are providing one of the most efficient systems as regards hydroponics and vertical farming within Africa. Like you said earlier on, they're efficient and they're highly concerned about sustainability as much as they're also concerned about impact. So thank you so much, Bradley, for your time today. It's been such an amazing conversation with you today. And so, guys, I have to say this about Bradley. I met Bradley last year. I think sometime around either September, not in person though, virtually. Sometime around September, October. We were both participants of African Masterclass series organized by Ideation Hub. And I just reached out to him and said, "Oh, okay, I'm starting out this podcast. I would like to interview you." And I was like, "Oh, sure, fine. Thank you. Just let me know. Whenever it is, just let me know." And I was like, "Okay, fine." Then this year I reached out to him. I was like, "Okay, I started it. I want you to come on." And I was like, "Oh, I'll make myself available. Just tell me when and I'll be there." And so this is me saying to you, Bradley, thank you. Thank you for um wanting to share your knowledge and your expertise with the community. And also, much more, thank you for being an example and a beacon of hope that there's so much that we can do within the continent. Regardless of your skill set and your competencies, there's always something that you can use that to solve the problem around our environment. And just thank you for being that example to us. And I had said to him earlier on that one of the reasons why I do this is because I just want to be able to show youth what is possible, especially within the agricultural space. Just, and when people are able to see possibilities, they're also able to like sort of desire it for themselves and then, move towards that as well. So, Bradley, thank you once again for coming on the call today. Thank you for sharing with us. And thank you for the amazing work that you do with Agrivolve. There was a part in this conversation you had said, entrepreneurship is hard. And and I typically understand that it comes to a point where sometimes you almost want to question the decision. Why exactly am I doing this? Why? Why did
Yeah.
I get? I could as well be doing something else. Why am I doing this? But I think it's that part of there's that part in us that just wants to do life much more than ourselves, want to be able to be part of something that is bigger beyond us, want to be able to serve. That's where social impact comes in. Want to be able to serve, want to be able to just provide solutions. And so thank you for doing that, Bradley. It's been such an amazing time having this conversation and interaction with you today.
Thank you. This was absolutely amazing, and I absolutely appreciate you having me today. And continue the good work. I mean, it's amazing. I've watched the previous interviews, and I was like, this is what is needed. That we can speak about agriculture And yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having Agrivolve. And hopefully, within the next few years, we'll be sending, not years actually, I think at the end of the year, we'll be sending you a package of nice homegrown vegetables, and we can potentially even.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Asante sana. That's how we say thank you in Kenya. Asante sana.
Oh, oh wow. Okay. Thank you. How do you respond to that in Kenya as well?
You say karibu.
Oh, okay. Say it again now.
Asante sana.
Karibu. Oh wow.
Fantastic.
I learned something